you. Okay. How we doing? Everybody good? Good? Great. Great. Any questions about this, for lack of a better word, process? I'm always looking for some word for it. Meditation is this great big fat 4-syllable word that sounds like it must be a big fat task. And it's not. Even to say process, like we're processing something, there's some procedure. It's not. It's just recognizing what's already going on, which is awareness, which is going on completely by itself. We're just completely a witness to it, a innocent bystander, and just fully recognizing that and giving up to it. Just fully recognizing that, unlike every other situation we're ever in, there is absolutely no role for us to play. We're not deciding, when to shift the car into third gear. We're not deciding which, what we want for breakfast. We're not monitoring. We're not doing it. We're noticing that awareness goes on by itself. We notice that awareness is empty. It's like open space. That's a big revelation. That's a big discovery. And it's very, very important. Anything that has qualities, anything that, has a color or a texture or a sound or a size or a shape, that's not awareness. That's not the open space of the stage. That's something on the stage. That's a thing we're aware of. So there's basically two things going on in life. There's all the phenomena, the stuff we're aware of, and then there's awareness itself. And awareness is non-phenomenal. That means empty. That means there's nothing going on in it. Everything's going on in it. But it itself is not anything going on. It's like a mirror. Right? All the different colors, all the different shapes can reflect in the mirror. But the mirror itself has no color. And this is a crucial thing. The mirror is never stained by, even if you hold a blue object, you hold a grape or something in front of the mirror for 1,000 years, and it might seem like, oh man, this purple color, this blue color is really getting burned into the mirror. I'm really going to have to scrape it off. But the moment you take the grape away, no, it's gone. And what that shows us is actually, even for the 1,000 years or the 2 minutes or whatever that the grape is in front of the mirror is not stained. The mirror never loses its perfect, empty, crystalline luminosity. And that's the nature of awareness. And next question. What's the relationship between this awareness and what we call I? We say, okay, I am aware. Sounds like there's these two things. There's this I, and then there's this aware thing that I am or that I have or something. Seems to be some separation. At least the way it works in our language. But is that the case? Is that the case? What does I mean? We use I in a lot of different ways. If I say I'm sitting in the chair, I'm using I to be equivalent to the body. If I say I don't think so, or oh, I think that, then I'm making I equivalent to the thoughts. If I say I went to San Francisco State College back in 1960, whatever it was. Now I'm making I equivalent to my personal history, my memories, which are also just thoughts. It's not actually anything in the past, it's thoughts I'm having in the present. And all my plans for the future are also thoughts and my hopes and my fears and my dreads about the future are all thoughts I'm having in the present. Right? Where are all those thoughts taking place? Okay, so conventionally we do that. We point to our skull, but is that actually, if you have the experience of, let's say, your toe gets a cramp, is that experience happening in your skull bone? No.
It's processed there, though.
It's processed there. That's what some biology book you read tells you, right? And that thought, that memory of the thing that you read in the biology book, where does that thought exist? Let's throw in another example. I like where you're going here. Let's imagine something you all know. Just think of, okay, you don't have to do anything. I'm going to say something and then you're going to see something. The front door of the place where you live. Okay, I say that, you think it. You don't have to do, there's no effort involved. And I don't even want to say you think it, you see it. Now, where is that vision? Where is that seeing of that picture of your door taking place?
Imagination.
Okay, imagination, that's a good word. That word, the root of that word is image. We're seeing an image. But where are we seeing that image? Where are we seeing it? Don't think, look. Don't think, look. I'm asking you to really look at, it's kind of, okay, good. So you're doing this. It kind of seems like, it's sort of projected out here a few inches or a few feet in front of my face. Is that really the case? Is that really the case?
You can see when you close your eyes.
Yeah, you see it when you close your eyes. Is the fact that we might have the impression that when I think of the door, I'm seeing it here, could that be because my eyes are in the front of my head and that's where I'm used to seeing things? What if our anatomy were different? What if you were like an insect with little eyes on the ends of your antennae, right? What if you had eyes? What if you were shaped like a fish with an eye on each side? Would you then, when you thought of your door, would you see it here? I think that's just a construct. I think that's just a habit of thinking. It's not actually your experience. It's not actually your experience. It's sort of a little extra layer of thought, of interpretation on top of your experience. I think if you really look closely, where is that being experienced? What you find is it's nowhere. There is no location. All we can say, really, for lack of a better word, is it's happening within awareness. I mean, do you ever experience anything outside of awareness? No, by definition, you're aware of it. It's happening within. We say within your awareness as if that's a spatial thing, but again, that's just our language. All our experience of space and all our experience of time, for that matter, has to happen within awareness. So if we're looking for, okay, well, where is that awareness? We're looking for a location for awareness. That's inside out. We're not going to find a location for awareness. All our sense of location, all our sense of the whole, the x-axis of time, we could say, the y-axis of space, that's all, those axes and all our experiences that are graphed between those two axes of time and space are all happening, so to speak, on the blank piece of paper, which is awareness. Time and space are within awareness. Everything's within awareness. That's why people may sometimes notice this tiny little thing that doesn't seem very significant, but often, especially their first time doing this meditation, people open their eyes and they find themselves wondering, gee, how long was that? You know, gee, was that 5 minutes? Was that half an hour? How long was that? And the reason that you don't know how long it was is because when we sink more within the silence, the inherent emptiness of awareness, we're sinking beneath the level where there's time and space. So we can come out and go, I kind of went off the clock there. You know, I kind of went, sometimes it seems, boy, I'm back in this room, boy, I'm back in this body. Because all our experience of the body is also taking place within the awareness. You know, we tend to identify with the body. Oh, this is me. The stuff that happens to this, it's happening to me. But the body changes. This is not the same body I had when I was 6 years old. But there's this awareness that was aware of my 6-year-old body and is aware of this body that does not change. Because it's empty, because it has no qualities, because there's nothing to change. Because it's like space. And it's the one thing, the only thing, because it's not a thing, it's not affected by anything. That's really good news. Because the body gets sick, the body gets injured, the body hurts. But awareness doesn't. And awareness, here's the spoiler, here it comes, that's what you are. That's what you are. That's what, if there's one thing that's the one thread that runs through all your experience, all your life, your body changes, your opinions change, your life experience. You know, I know people whose gender has changed, right? All these things that we deeply identify with, that we think are us, are all subject to change.
Your thoughts don't define who you are.
Your thoughts don't define who you are. Exactly right. Your thoughts are taking place within this space, which is what you are. But don't take my word for it. Check it out. Check it out. And the two main ways to check this out, one is to sit and meditate. It's really good to sit and do this so-called meditation. It's good to like have a time where you do it regularly every day for a little while. Doesn't matter, 5 minutes, half an hour. Best is to throw away the clock. Don't even think about how long it is. Take your time coming out at the end. At the beginning, as a little on-ramp you could do, we did this, or, you know, if you've got one of my books, or you come back to more of these sessions, there's other on-ramps we can use. Just little something transitional between being active and just taking it easy. So the one way to explore this deeply is keep meditating every day. And even if we forget about all these, big questions like who am I, what's the deal with awareness, just, people who practice this find out, gee, your blood pressure gets normalized, you'd feel more calm, things like anxiety and aggression and, all this stuff just tends to, everything smooths out. So in a totally practical way, great. And if you never think beyond just the very simple practical aspect of it, great. But also on the deeper level, you keep doing this, it becomes more and more clear. Oh, this is what I am. I'm this emptiness. I'm this, and emptiness sounds, in English anyway, sounds like a gloomy word. But it's not. It's empty of gloom. Perfectly empty. Perfectly, it's like taking off a tight shoe. Empty of constriction. Empty of problems. Empty of beginning, middle, and end. So that's the one thing. And then the other way to explore it is just with insight, the kind of thing that we're doing now, checking it out. What's going on when I'm sitting at the red light? Okay, there's these feelings. There's the sensation of my hand on the wheel. Is that me? Is the feeling of anxiety because I'm late to work, is that me? Or the feeling of relaxation because I'm driving home from work and my work is done? Is that me? Or is all this just stuff that passes through me? Are they all just different colors on the mirror? Yeah.
Is it a valid question to ask? It doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
To ask.
Speak up a little for our YouTube friends here.
Does it make any sense to ask what is the relationship between this individualized awareness and an absolute awareness? Like large, you understand what I'm...
Yeah. So she's saying, does it make sense to ask what's the relationship between individualized awareness and
A one.
Vast awareness.
Yeah.
Okay. What is individualized awareness?
The one that I am.
The one that you am. Is that different from the one that I am? See,
Maybe as far as experience, yes. Like what I see, it is, well, no. Yeah, as far as experience, let's say.
yeah, as far as experience is concerned. But experience is not awareness. Experience is the stuff that comes and goes within the awareness.
Okay.
See, you see, we're so used to. I mean, I'm so glad that you asked this question, because there's a joker in the deck here.
Yeah. That's why I asked
Yes.
a valid question.
Yeah, the joker in the deck. Is this phrase individual awareness, and there's an implicit assumption that there is such a thing.
Or an individualized consciousness.
Yeah. Okay. So awareness and consciousness. You know, sometimes just a little problem. There's no problem with the reality. Sometimes a little problem with the language we use to talk about it. So we have to be clear. Sometimes different writers and different teachers will use the same words in slightly different ways. So let's just be clear about how I'm speaking here. As far as I can see, the words awareness and consciousness are synonymous. So we don't have to complicate things by bringing in the word. I like the word awareness better because it has fewer consonants. It's more open sounding. It sounds more empty. I like the W. Awareness. Consciousness is too harsh. So awareness. Okay. No color, no size. No, yeah, I do like this, but this doesn't mean it's big. It means it has no size. It has no nothing. But it's aware. It's not dead. It's not inert. And you know, we have to use this language to talk about it, but when you experience it, as I know you have because you've been meditating for quite some time, you know what I'm talking about. You know that experience. I always come back to that great thing that my teacher Maharishi said. It's just nothing. But there's something very good about it. You know, that's why it feels good to meditate, why we're attracted to it, why it's not work, it's not a chore to come back to meditate. When we settle into that, there's that feeling of, because that's liberation. That settling into that just nothing is liberating from all the boundaries, all the constrictions of all the somethings. Okay? Now, we are so used to thinking of ourselves as individuals. We're so used to identifying with our thoughts or with our bodies where there are individual characteristics. Your hair, Liliana, looks different from my hair, right? Your personal history, where you grew up in South America, all that is different from my personal history. We're so used to identifying with the phenomena that we normally associate with us, that all those phenomena are what make up the sense of individuality. Now, when you take that away, when you get rid of it, you don't have to get rid of it, but you just see through it. You just see that that's just stuff on the surface of the mirror. That's just actors moving around within the proscenium arch of the space of the theater. Then what's left? Let's do a little thought experiment here. Let's say you're coming out of surgery. Okay? You're coming out of deep anesthesia, and you come out and you wake up. But let's say it's a totally dark room, so you don't see anything. And it's a totally soundproof room, you don't hear anything. And you're in maybe one of these, floating in one of these chambers, so you don't feel anything. So all your senses, nothing going on within the senses. and let's say something's happened with the anesthesia, so you temporarily have no memories. You don't remember your history up to this moment. You don't have any raw material for making thoughts. Okay. You might have the thought, hey, what's going on here? But let's say the moment before you have that thought even, you're awake. Let's say, or maybe we've tweaked your medication so you can't have thoughts, but you're awake. See, so in this little experiment, we've temporarily, for purposes of research, of thinking clearly about these things, we've stripped away everything but the one thing, this awakeness, this awareness. Okay. It has no qualities. If it's you waking up in the room in that experiment, or me waking up, is there going to be any difference? No, it's just there's no quality to it. Everything that makes for individuality is gone. Now, once we start reintroducing specific experiences, you start hearing things, you start remembering things, and so forth. Then we start reconstructing a sense of being an individual. But it's all made out of those things that we're aware of. It's not the awareness. Now, still looking at this experience of just pure awareness without any content. Doesn't have any size, doesn't have any shape, doesn't have any color, doesn't have anything. It's just nothing. There's another word we can use for it, which is it's infinite. Now, people hear this word infinite, and often they think, oh, that means great, great big, like millions and millions and millions of miles, and then like one more inch just to make your mind explode. That's not infinite. Infinite does not mean great, big, great, 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 big. Infinite means it has nothing to do with size, no size. Just like they think, oh, eternity. You know, a lot of people, they have this kind of Sunday school idea of spending eternity in heaven or hell or something. It's like millions and millions and millions and millions of years. But that's not what eternity is. Eternity means no time, off of the time scale. That you experience, when you come out of meditation and you go, how long was that? It's because you were in eternity. You were outside of time. So eternity is actually always, right now, we're pulsing in eternity, we're pulsing in infinity, and within them we keep reconstructing with our thoughts the matrix of time and space, the XY axis of time and space, so we can have the adventure of these experiences. We can enjoy this movie for a while, till it's over. But everything that's individual belongs to the movie. Awareness itself, because it's infinite. How many infinites are there room for?
So there is no difference.
There is no difference. There are no two things to be different. There is no you aware. See, and this is the thing. This is a big thing to swallow. Don't take my word for it. This is the thing. That where we find that, you know, to me, the most eloquent expression of all this stuff, fundamental reality, comes from the Upanishads, where it says, I am that, with a capital T. Aham Brahmasmi. I am that. You are that. Tattvamasi. Right? And we know this from math. If, you know, x equals y, if x equals z and y equals z, then x equals y. So if I am that, you are that, then we equal each other. It's the same thing. So that, what does it say? I am that, you are that. All this is nothing but that, and that alone is. There's only one ocean. And it appears to arise within these waves. There's this ocean of beingness, this ocean of awareness. And over here it appears to arise as a wave that we call Dean, and over there it arises as a wave called Liliana, over there it arises as a wave called Gabriel. So that we can have these adventures. So that we can wave at each other. Interact in various things, work out our stuff. Okay, how am I going to deal with this wave? Am I going to love it? Am I going to hate it? Am I going to dominate it? Am I going to impeach it? Am I going to, whatever, right? With all these different ways we can interact to work this stuff out, ultimately to, here's the spoiler, to discover, oh, we're all this one ocean. But until you've clearly experienced that, that's a hard thing to get over. It's so habitual to think of some fundamental way that I am an individual. And to discover that you're not. And this is why, we've talked about this before. If you've been here on enough Tuesday nights, you've heard this. We've talked about how, people at the time of dying, they, what's really going on there is this wave that you thought you were is melting back into the ocean that you are. And we're so used to thinking, oh, I am dying. And you're not. I am, if what you truly are is the ocean, there's nothing that I was never born, that I can't die. And then, any situation that in some way is like dying in that sense, where where our individuality tends to get lost, melt away in some gentle way or be threatened, so that there's a tendency to try to hold on to that individuality. This is why, people, when they take psychedelics, when very suddenly their individuality is melting away, if they resist it, and this is where people have so-called bad trips, because they start struggling against it. That's where they need to have the acid guide or the shaman or whoever to say, it's okay, just go with the flow. Just go with the flow. This is why also you'll find yourself sitting in meditation, sitting down to do your afternoon meditation or whatever at home. This just happened to me this morning. It was you find you're sitting down, okay, and maybe you do a little breathing or something. You're sitting there and you're going to settle on the cushion, everything's fine, and then you get this feeling, no, I don't want to do this. Right? Does that ring a bell? Right? No, I don't want to do this. Doesn't matter. I don't care if you've been meditating. I've been doing this stuff for 50 years or something. It still happens to me. I don't want to do this. What is that? That's the sense of individuality fighting for its life, saying, I don't want to. Right? I don't want to be like the wicked witch. I'm melting. I don't want to melt. I want to stay Dean. I don't want to melt into. So it's really important to know that, to recognize that thing when it comes along and go, oh yeah, that thing. Because I guarantee you there are thousands of people walking around who go, oh yeah, I started meditating. I'm not sure why I stopped. This is why they stopped. Actually, there's two main reasons why people stop meditating. One is because they're meditating what I would call incorrectly, which is they're straining. They're trying to concentrate, trying to push thoughts out. And that just gives you a headache, and and then it makes perfect sense to stop. So that's one reason they stop, because they're meditating incorrectly, and then the other reason they stop is because they're meditating correctly, and their individuality starts to melt away, and they go, whoa, they panic. No, but they don't recognize what's going on. So it's, oh no, I got too busy. Oh no, I've got to send this email right now. No, I gotta. Whatever. Yeah. So.
Is it not possible that you could also stop the way you stop going to the gym? You feel better afterwards. You might, once you get started in the gym, you might even feel better while you're there. Mm-hmm. But when you have the choice to do it or not, at that point you stop.
So why? When that happens, when you're going to the gym, you've been going to the gym, and you feel good while you're working out. You feel good after working out, but you stop anyway. Why do you do that? You tell me.
I might like doing something else better.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. something you like doing better, do it.
But
Let me
then-
know what it is. I want to know what that
But
is.
then, I've heard you and I've heard other people that, teach meditation say that it's really kind of important if you can to make a habit of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those habits can kind of get turned off sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, the thing is, the real thing is, meditating is not like going to the gym. Meditating is
I
not,
suspected that.
yes. Meditating is not like anything else because it's not a thing. It's not like anything. Everything else is a thing. Everything else is a thing. Do I go to the gym? Or do I want to go to this concert? Or do I want to go to that concert? Oh, by the way, tomorrow night, and right over here at the Broad Stage, Jake Shimaburo, whatever, he's like the Jimi Hendrix of the ukulele.
Oh, I've heard of that.
He's incredible. Had one of the very first viral YouTube videos back in 1990 something, where he played. He was sitting in Strawberry Fields in New York, and he played this. Here Comes the Sun, I think it was. Right, you know the one? Yeah, he's incredible. Anyway, he's going to be right over here at the Broad Stage. So we might think, okay, do I want to go see Ukulele Jake, or do I want to, do that? Listen to this other kind of music. Do I want to go to the gym and run on the treadmill, or do I want to go shoot hoops, or whatever? Those things are things. So it could be one thing or another thing. This is the one thing that's not a thing. It's just nothing. But it is becoming aware of the awareness within which we experience all those other things. And that gives it a unique value. A unique value. It's the old things go better with Coke. If you're of a certain age, you may remember that slogan, things go better with Coke. Things go better with nothing. This is one more stage experience. You got to do this. It's there till the end of October. At the Kirk Douglas Theater in Culver City, Yaffa and I just went the other night. Bill Irwin, the great clown, is doing this one-man show about the works of Samuel Beckett, the author of Waiting for Godot. You got to see it.
Can you like it if you don't care for Beckett that much?
Huh?
Can you?
Yeah. He's very good.
That's what I heard. And I thought,
No. He's very. You're gonna love Beckett by the end of this thing, and he makes it very palatable because he knows about the difficulty that people have with the language and so forth, and he do yourself a favor. Anyway, they have in the lobby they had all these quotes from Beckett's work on little cards, and I took a picture of one from his novel. I think it's Malone, and the quote is, "Nothing is more important than nothing." Okay. Nothing, YouTubers, nothing is more important than nothing. Right? All these somethings are of subordinate value. The most important thing is this nothing, which is the space within which we experience all the somethings. And the thing is, that space is there no matter what. Awareness is there. Awareness is the background. Awareness is the field, the medium, no matter what. But most people are walking around not aware of awareness. Not aware of awareness. So all they have is the things within the awareness. And that means they're fucked. Because those things keep changing. We keep trying to make something permanent. We keep trying to hold on to this stuff, and it keeps going away. Have you noticed that? It keeps changing. Have you noticed that?
Is it possible to control?
Is it possible to control the things? No.
Impossible.
Impossible, yes.
Because if this is what I do, if something's literally completely out of my control, I will never react, ever. Like someone bumps into me, there's like people like that get angry like in their mind if someone bumps into them, right? There's like no reason. It's like a waste of energy.
Yeah, so right. Yeah.
And that's just
There's all this stuff that's not controllable. And what you're doing there is you're intuiting, if you read all these texts like the Bhagavad Gita, which by the way I was talking to Liliana before, I'm in the middle of narrating an audiobook of the Bhagavad Gita, which is really so much fun. That'll be out in a month or two. And so all these texts like the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads and the Tao Te Ching describe what you're talking about. They describe the awakened person, the enlightened person, as the one who is not dissuaded. One to me are loss and gain, fame and shame. Okay? The one difference is, so you've intuited, and most people don't have that insight to intuit, okay, this is the way that it doesn't make sense to have those reactions to these things that can't be controlled. What happens as you continue to meditate is that becomes so natural and so spontaneous.
Like I don't even think about it. Like I'm just mellow most of the time.
Yeah.
To be honest. But not like in a potato way.
not in a past. Right. See, and this is another really good intuition you have about this. That enlightenment is not passivity.
Yeah.
It's not passivity. It's not a mood. It's not a passive mood. It's not a what the hell mood. It's not a flaky mood. It's not an irresponsible, feckless mood. It's not any mood. It's clear. Ultimately, it's clear 24/7, spontaneous, without even thinking about it, experience of the fact that, I'm like a mirror, all this stuff is passing through me. There is some stuff that it's appropriate for you to respond to.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you respond. In a way, it all comes back to the serenity prayer that's so popular in the 12-step world. God grant me the tranquility to, what is it?
Accept the things I can't change, the courage to change.
Yes, to God grant me the tranquility to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's a beautiful sentiment. Again, it's a beautiful, perfect intuition of what the life of an awakened person is. But just having the prayer, having the idea of it, is not exactly the same as that's the description of it. It's not the prescription for how to live it. And the prescription, as far as I can see, the main thing in the prescription is you got to do some time. Park your butt on the cushion or in the seat, close your eyes, sink into that every day. It gets more and more clear what that is, and more clear that that's there as the background of everything all the time, whether you're in so-called meditation or running around doing stuff. Yes.
I know a couple of people that are very good runners.
Yeah, louder, please.
I know a couple of people that are very good runners,
Mm-hmm.
and they say that when they run in a very relaxed way,
Mm-hmm.
they go into a state
Mm-hmm.
that is no thought, and that
Mm-hmm.
they have to be careful not to be in between cars because they're really gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And today I was in the swimming pool doing laps,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of went into not being gone, but
Yeah.
I did stop counting.
Mhm. Yeah.
I just knew that I had reached
Yeah.
the edge and turned around, and it was not the depth of meditation, but it was
Yeah, and it's what athletes call the zone.
yeah.
And I know of people who get there, but through running, through swimming, through, when I was in Austin, I was staying with my friend who's an oil trader. When he's sitting at his computer, on a good day, he's trading from that zone. And, dancing, weeding the garden, what...
So the spinning masters.
Oh, yeah, the whirling dervishes,
The
yeah.
whirling
Sure. In Japan, all this stuff that's turned into like Zen arts, whether it's swordsmanship or archery or calligraphy or flower arrangement, it's all there as a form of meditation, as a form of like being in that zone. So the big surprise is not that through doing some, in the context of doing this or that activity, you can connect with that empty space where all activity takes place. We should be able to connect through it through every activity. If you can, to some degree, as you said, maybe not to the depth of meditation, but if to some degree, to any degree, you're connecting to it through meditate, because you're just connecting with yourself, with what you truly are, as we discussed before. It makes sense, because, you know, you are that while you're weeding the garden, you are that while you're running. You are that, you know, it's just becoming consciously that. And it's really good to be able to have something that you do where you feel you can access that regularly. But then the next step, which most people don't take, you know, mostly then they identify, okay, so I got to run more. I really get there by running. Then there's this other shit that I have to do.
It's just a state of being.
Yeah, it's being, and you're being no matter what you're doing.
Exactly.
So the deal is to find that. Also, how can I connect to that in the context of, you know, being stuck in traffic on the 405?
If you have like achieved that, do you still meditate if it doesn't really do anything for you anymore?
That's a really good question. When you're living that 24/7,
Yeah.
you still sit and meditate. In principle, you don't have to.
Okay.
In practice, pretty much you still do, for a couple of reasons. For one thing, it's still good for the body to really just settle and to go into that hypometabolic thing where you're, because that's really good for your health and your longevity.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're enjoying life so much, you probably want to stick around for a while. You know,
Would
that
you say then, is it like just sitting and breathing for like 5 minutes? That's fine, if that makes sense.
sitting and breathing for 5, but you know, it could be different for different people. But the other thing so that's one reason. One is still good for your health and longevity. Another reason is, and this is going to sound funny, but for other people.
Yeah.
In other words, if other people, you know, if the Dalai Lama, I think in terms of his own awareness, I don't think he has to still get up at 4 a.m. and do 3 hours of meditation, but he does, because he's got all these other people around him. And if they're going, oh, the Dalai Lama, now he's cool, he doesn't meditate, now I'm not going to meditate, you know. So part of it is to kind of inspire the other people. And the other thing is, we want to be sure, and there's a lot of places along the way where we can we can feel, okay, I'm really there now. I'm really there now, and you're kind of there, but then, you know, something happens and you go, oh, I could still use some more work. You know, you hear Ram Dass talk about that, you know, when...
We really got to go, actually, but thank you.
Okay, good. So glad you could be here. Okay, we'll see you. And by the way, Angela, when you go back to Australia, I put all these up on YouTube. I got about a year of them archived on my YouTube channel now, so if you're ever so inclined, you can dip into them there. Great,
I
good.
really enjoyed this.
Good.
Thank you for letting me be
Okay.
part of it.
Yeah, you bet. So glad you could make it.
And send us those transcripts with Trump speaking to your prime minister.
Oh yeah, no, I want those too. I got those. I'm like, what are we doing now?
Yeah.
Like, what have I got myself into?
Yeah. Yeah, you're here at an interesting time in history.
Very
Right.
If I get them, you're the first person. I'll
Okay.
send them to.
Great.
Last question. Would you say it's like essentially your being and you choose what to react to? And your being, like at all times, like your being,
Mm-hmm.
in another word, but you choose what to react to. Like everything's going on in your life and you make the choice to react to certain things or not in certain ways.
I'm sorry, is there a question in there?
Yeah, is it basically like similar to what you're saying? For some people, they don't get this. If you say it that way, they might understand.
Two things. First thing, I'm not sure I 100% understand exactly what you're describing.
I think he means like if you're in that state,
Yep.
do you know what to react to and what not to react to, or how you should react? This is, you know, my old teacher Maharishi, who I refer to frequently, he had this great expression that he used a lot in talking about that awakened state, which was spontaneous right action. More and more, you know how when you're really in the zone with something, like driving the Corvette across town or something, right?
That was fun.
He had this. Gabriel had this hot red Corvette for a day or two, and we were having a lot of fun. And at first you get into the car, it's unfamiliar. Okay, what are the dynamics of this thing? What happens when I step on the pedal this much and so forth? Then after a while, it's more like you and the machine are one.
Exactly. It's like riding the scooters around here.
Yes.
The first day I was like, I'll do it.
Right.
And now I'm like fluid basically.
It's fluent. You don't think about it.
Exactly.
And then there's kind of a bigger thing where, on a really good day where it's like you and the traffic are one.
Yeah.
And you're heading for the thing and you see it's congested in that block and okay, should I turn left or turn right? You just know, and you're going in the right place. More and more, your life becomes like that. You don't even know sometimes why you went left instead of right, but you find out. And it's more and more, I've said this before, I think this is what that story in the Bible is about, the Red Sea parting for Moses and the Hebrew people to go through. Wherever you go, whatever you're doing, it's like the Red Sea is parting for you and you go, oh, go that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just describing, I know what it feels like, not that I'm with that 100%.
Yeah.
But it becomes more and more like that. And the thing is, it's really important not to arrive at any premature conclusions about this stuff, because it's easy to feel, okay, I got it now, okay, I understand it now, or okay, I've achieved it now, and great, whatever's changed, that's great, but there keeps being more. And I know for me, and I've been doing this stuff for a long time, and going on retreats, sometimes silent retreats for weeks at a time, months at a time, dug in, meditating for hours a day, and it keeps opening up for me. So I'm hanging in there. I'm sitting down doing my meditation every morning.
Yeah.
It just keeps, my experience, it just keeps getting better. You feel like there's moments with this stuff, and there's times in your life where you feel like, oh, I've pecked my way out of the shell. Now at last I'm out in the open air. Oh, it's so great. And then there's another, you peck your way out into an even bigger space and an even bigger space. It's cool. So now it's 9:00, so it's time we're going to adjourn for cookies and tea. So
Don't do that meditation while you're driving the red Corvette.
yeah, right.
One more time.
Don't meditate while you're driving
Yes.
the red Corvette.
No,
Right,
I
right.
would do that.
Not while operating heavy machinery. So we'll be doing this again in 2 weeks, and may all sentient beings swiftly realize their true nature, the true happiness, the true openness, the true just nothing but something very good about it. And thus may peace spontaneously prevail everywhere throughout this world and all possible worlds. And in the traditional Sanskrit language, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.